you? I am Crystal from the Crystal Center of Healing. Please like and subscribe. If you like my topics, my cards, my guided meditations that I do off the cuff, I do not prepare for them. I intuitively just go into a guided meditation depending on how the energy is feeling. I know right now this week we've had a full moon in Scorpio. We have solar flares. We have a geostorm on the sun. So that's probably why my headache's even worse than normal, because everything I've tried to do has not been helping. But today I would like to talk just a little bit about grief and your self-care and stress. There's a lot of things that people talk about grief, how, like some people think you should be able to get over things quickly, and you just don't. Everybody's different in their grief. It's a very personal thing. And the reason why I talk about this, because I'm still dealing with grief from last year, and I think I've mentioned this on some of my other videos. I lost 3 pets last year, and they were very near and dear to me, and you probably see Finn over here. I lost his bonded person, Merlin. I was living in an Airbnb before I found this place, and the lanai door was left open a little bit. The pool guy had been there and didn't shut it. So when I got home, I let my animals out to the lanai, and I had looked out to make sure that the doors were shut, but the one was not pulled the whole way, and I couldn't tell that at the time. It was like 9 o'clock at night by the time I got home that day. So I was sitting in the living room with my other elderly dog that she passed last year too. She was on the couch with me, and then I was like sitting there like, where is everybody? Because usually my other dog, Boo, I call him Boo. My son named him Mario, but he's my baby Boo. He usually comes back in. He's not usually out in Lanai like forever, like the cats. The cats, love it out there. So I go out and like there's nobody out there, and I'm looking in the pool to make sure, everybody can swim, but so I'm like, oh my God, and I went over to the door and it was open about 4 or 5 inches. So I like panicked. By this time it was 11:30 at night. I found Finn right away. He was like standing under a tree. It was really funny because I was like, Finn, is that you? And he started meowing at me. And I'm like, well, where's your brother Merlin? I never found Merlin. I don't know what happened to Merlin. I went on a lot of boards and posted his picture, and there's like no poles out there, so it wasn't like I could hang posters. And I did see people that stuck lawn things in there with their pet missing, but like when I'm driving by I couldn't even see what it was, so I didn't think it would help. But I did like go to the neighbors, and I walked around the neighborhood for a couple days, because the next morning I actually had to leave the Airbnb. I couldn't even stay there. I was moving into this place. I did find Boo eventually. It was about midnight till I found him and got his butt back in. He was something else. But, I have this guilt and grief about Merlin, not knowing what happened to him, feeling that maybe I should have just walked out to the doors and made sure they were pulled latched. It was a Friday night. It was late. So I'm still trying to deal with that. And, dealing with, Peanut, She was 14, so I loved her to death. She was the run of her litter. She was the alpha girl. But she was 14, and that one was a little easier to take. But Boo, he was 2 years younger than Peanut, and I thought I'd have him another 2 years. I thought that was in the plan. That I'd have Boo for 2 years, and then something else that I'm looking forward to that's happening in 2 years. And there would be this, you know. Anyway, so I'm still dealing with grief. And Boo died in August, and it is now May. But he was like my best bud in the world. He always, pets, they know. They know when you're upset. He always would, come up to me, lick me in the face. He was a Boston Terrier. If you know what Boston Terriers are like. And he would snuggle up next to me and he would stay with me. And he would look back and check on me, to see what facial expression I had. I didn't have dogs growing up, and my ex-husband was the one that wanted the Boston Terriers. And I was more of a cat person. I had a cat growing up. And I just never thought I would have so much love, for Boo and Peanutty. They were my squad, my posse, whatever you want to call it. And I miss them, and I'm still dealing with that, and the circumstances with Merlin. And I know I talked about this before. I can remember using the same words, and you just have to be gentle with yourself, and things happen, unfortunately, and you wish you would have, should have, those absolutes that therapists will tell you not to use. Don't use absolutes with things, because then you feel bad. Don't let anybody tell you that you should be over something. I've had family members tell me that I should be over my childhood trauma. And not that I haven't worked on it. I mean, it's just layer upon layer of stuff that I never got to deal with it as a young person, because I was never put in therapy or had anybody help me with it. So when I'd get re-traumatized, you just get these layers and layers and layers, like an onion, like I've talked about before. You just keep working on it, evolving. Sometimes even when you get re-traumatized, you learn something new about the trauma and about yourself, which is always interesting. So do everything in your time. As long as you're working on stuff, you're learning new things, you're moving forward, and not, with trauma, it's hard not to look at the past, especially if you have your PTSD, where you get flashbacks. I had a flashback a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't had one in years, and it kind of threw me. And I was like, why am I having this now? And there was just certain things that have been coming up between the grief that I'm still experiencing and some of the more difficult things I'm experiencing right now, with life in general. It just brought some stuff up, and that's probably why I've had this headache for months too, because I remembered my senior year of high school was very stressful, which it is for most kids, because you're going off to college, or you're getting a job and working on moving out of your parents' house if you haven't already. It's a very stressful time of life, and you're leaving people behind sometimes, and you just don't know you're not in that cocoon of your, parents' home or wherever you lived or whatever you experienced. You're moving on to something different and you're becoming an adult and your brain's almost fully developed, I mean, it's still happening, but for some reason my battery's not working. Hold on a second. There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't feel like pausing it just for a couple seconds. Because that's life. Things happen. So I just fixed it. But life, just keep moving forward. One step at a time. Keep learning, keep growing, keep evolving. Deal with things as they come. Don't hide. Don't let things get you in a place of fear. That's about, I think, is all I'm going to say about that topic right now. So let's get our affirmation card. Got the cards. And let's ask Spirit what we need to work on. What do we need to affirm, reaffirm? I don't know why this is shaking so much. I noticed it was doing that a lot last week and the week before. But I have it sitting on my guitar case. Just for some height. It was like the right height. So I have it on like the neck part of the case. Where's Finn left? He's over laying on the carpet now. He had to put his hormones all over my laptop. I guess didn't have enough from before. Actually got 2 cards this week. Oh boy. We got processing grief and integrating the ego. Wow. It came out that way. I did not plan that. That's the way it happened. Things have been kind of that way today. Very synchronistic. Synchronistic? I don't know, whatever the word is. So, the grief one says, my losses prove how deeply I've loved. I don't think have we had this before? I think I've had this before myself. My losses prove how deeply I loved. And if it's deep, it's unconditional. And that's what we're working towards. Unconditional love for ourselves and for others. Wow. That's just interesting. Let's see if the book says any more about the processing grief. Because I'll be interested in... When grief is processed, you are able to notice the maturity you gained, even when losing the people, places, and things that once defined your sense of self. As you process grief, you are able to celebrate how deeply you committed to love instead of holding a grudge towards those who left or couldn't love you back. Once grief is fully processed, it can ignite a deeper commitment to love. You know that your alignment with Source is not a matter of what comes or goes. It is determined by how much of yourself you are willing to share. This mantra is ideal for opening back up to love, rebuilding trust, and addressing heartache. I mean, I was talking about the love for my pets. addressing heartache. We all go through that heartache sometimes when a relationship ends, whether it's with family, friends, or a love, a love type relationship. So that's something to think about. And our other card is integrating the ego. Everything is for me, not against me. Everything is for me, not against me. It's interesting because I was just thinking about if you're on the path, an awakened path, like I am, you usually go through an ego death or what's called dark night of the soul. And if you've ever experienced it, it's not the easiest thing to go through. I've been through it a few times now, starting back in 2016, I think is the first time I went through it. And you just kind of go into this spiritual crisis or life crisis where you just kind of start questioning everything, and you're just hanging on by a thread. And I remember when I went through it, it was when my husband left and my mother-in-law had moved out too, and it was just me and my son. And it's hard being a single parent. It's hard being single when you have issues like, you got to take your car to the shop or something like that. And I don't remember what was wrong with my car. It doesn't really matter anyway. So I left my car at the shop, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get home? Because out where I live, there was no Uber or Lyft or anything like that. And I didn't have friends out by near me that could just help me out. So I was on my own. And so I had a bike, and so I took the bike with me, and it didn't have air in the tires, so I pumped up the tires before I dropped off on a car. Well, when you know it, the tires were bad, so it didn't hold air. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I walked with the bike on the side of a state highway. This is a rural area, so there was very little shoulder or berm. And it started sleeting. And I think I was about 6 miles from home. And it was uphill, part of it. That was a rough morning. By the time I got home, I was soaked. I literally peeled the clothes off of me, and I went to bed. And I don't know how many hours later it was. I got a call, my car was ready. So I'm like, oh shoot, now how am I going to go get the car? So I'm like, I was looking at the clock to see when my son was getting home. I think he was still in elementary school at that point. Yeah. So I was trying to get out of there. Well, no, he must have been older because I wouldn't have left him alone. But anyway, so I started walking to go get my car, and I was going through this dark night of soul. I was feeling bad about myself anyway. I was feeling bad about everything, the world, everybody. And I started walking, and I went up this side street to start going up towards that hill. And I just started crying. And I said, if there really is a source, universe, God, gods, whatever, help me out. And I was really sobbing. I can almost feel And I was just walking along looking at the ditch and thinking, well, maybe life would just be better without me. You know, it was such a struggle being single and a single mom, and I was having money issues. About 10 minutes after, I was pretty much yelling at the universe in my head. I don't think I was yelling out loud. Maybe I was, because there weren't many houses along there, so maybe I just decided to let it out for some kind of relief. So this van pulled up next to me, and it was a woman driver. She hauls Amish out in rural Ohio. They have Amish taxis. People buy these vans and they just haul Amish for money. And she stopped and asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be fine. And she didn't let it go. She said, do you need a ride? And I said, yeah, if it's not any trouble. I don't want to be any trouble. And she told me to get in, so I hopped in. And I kind of told her a little bit about what was going on. And she goes, did you walk this morning in the sleet? I said, yes, that was me. She goes, I felt so bad for you. And she goes, I normally do not go this way. This is not on my route. But something told me to turn up this road. Chardon-Windsor Road. And that was like a miracle to me. She was very kind, and I thanked her profusely for helping me out, because I told her I didn't have any money, just, to pay her, and she was, so willing, and she knew where my mechanic was, so that was an interesting day that I asked for what I needed, and help came. So, anyway, that's, kind of goes in with the card, with your ego. Everything is for me, not against me. So in that moment, I felt like everything was for me. And I was getting past the not against me part. Let's see what the book says. Integrating the ego. When your ego is integrated, there are no problems to fix or questions to answer. There are just the aligned responses of the soul's reality. Acknowledging life as fertile ground where greater expansion is revealed. As you integrate your ego, every moment can be seen to be conspiring for your highest evolution instead of plotting against you. This mantra is ideal for overcoming victimhood, being more grateful, and becoming more forgiving. So, 2 cards this week. I'll flip them over. Yeah, my Dark Night of the Soul that first time was like 3 months long. I didn't think I was going to make it. The second time around, it was like 6 weeks. And now I would consider a third time when I decided to move down here to Florida. It started before I left Ohio. and I still think we're kind of going through it, but it seems more of a collective thing now with all the ascension symptoms and stuff. So I don't feel quite as alone, and I have a very good friend and mentor who we talk about it. She's going through the same thing. So I think those that are awakened are going through this now. Excuse me. Obviously, I need some sleep. That's part of self-care. I need to get better sleep. I haven't slept well this week, and I was forgetting to spoon my feet. And that's in one of my videos, to spoon your feet at night. It helps you sleep better. So, if I can pull myself back together here, and let's do a little short guided meditation. It's gonna be it's gonna be a joyful one. We're gonna make it joyful. We're gonna tap in the joy with it, and it might be a little hypnotic for you, but it'll be good. So let's first clear our space. Let's just go through that. Imagine a white sheet on the floor. You can close your eyes for this, or you can leave them open, depending on how well you visualize. Either way. Imagine a white sheet covering your floor completely in the room you're in. Now we're going to allow this white sheet to rise, and with it, we'll take all the lower frequency energy, or negative energy, however you want to think about it, and that sheet's going to take all that away, and it's going to keep rising. It'll go through you, so hopefully it'll take some, if you have anything you could take with you. It's going to cut cords on the way, any energetic cords that no longer serve you. As it rises up to your waist, taking all the negative stuff away, relaxing you. It's rising higher. It's to your shoulders. That white sheet, just let it take everything away. Up through your head, above your head, and let it just raise on up into heaven, or space, or sky, or however you want to see it. And the angels will come and take that sheet away and dispose of all that low frequency, or transmute it probably. It doesn't matter as long as it's out of your space. So close your eyes, both feet on the floor. And just focus on your breathing. Make sure your belly is rising as you take a breath. You don't want to be breathing from your chest. That's stressful breath. If you need to, put your hand on your belly. Take a couple deep breaths in. It's going to make me yawn. That's okay, because we're releasing stuff. Sit back in your chair. Now I want you to picture yourself in a bubble, or an egg. And you're in your egg or your bubble, and you're safe, and you're relaxed. What color is your bubble? Let's make it your favorite color, whatever that may be. If you don't have a favorite color, just have it white. Or if there are color pops in your head, then use that. So just look at yourself, look at your bubble and the color of your bubble, and think about why you like that color, why that color might make you feel safe. And just relax and breathe. Maybe do some shoulder rolls back while you're in your bubble. In front. Now I want you to pull up a memory of your favorite day. Doesn't matter if you were a child, you're an adult, doesn't matter. Whatever your favorite, most positive, joyous memory is, I want you to bring that to your mind. And I want you to replay it in your mind. And feel how it makes you feel. And just keep replaying it. If it's a short memory. And I want you to just sit in this joy that you're feeling, this gratefulness, this happiness, whatever this particular memory makes you feel. And if you have problems remembering your happiest memory, like I do, think of your favorite hobby that you love to do, or when you got your, like, I can remember when I got Peanut, as a puppy. She was 10 weeks old, or Boo when he was 6 weeks old, which is not legal. Just those happy memories when you gave birth to your child. Or when you had a really good birthday. Or you hung out with your girlfriends, or you did something incredibly romantic with your significant other. Or when you went on a trip somewhere. Now, once you feel that happiness or joy come over you, push it out all into your bubble or your egg. You're surrounded by this wonderful feeling of joy, gratefulness, happiness, playfulness, whatever you're feeling with this. Now I want you to tap it in. And where you tap it in is, if you know where your third eye is, it's slightly above. You go in between your eyebrows and you go slightly above is your third eye. So take both your hands and just tap in that joy. Just do it for a little bit. And if you haven't gotten to that where you think maybe be the pinnacle of your feelings, then you can wait for a minute till you get there. And just keep breathing and enjoying the memory. Because you're safe in your bubble and you're relaxing. And there's no stress in your bubble. There's no anything to worry about in your bubble. There's no fear in your bubble. There's only happiness and joy and relaxation. And you're comfortable. And you feel good. You feel safe. It's just the perfect temperature for you. Tap in that joy if you feel it. let's just keep going through the memories, and I'm going to shut up for a minute, and we'll let it percolate for a little bit, and then I'll bring you out of it. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, take your time. There's no rush. Come back to this moment in time. I hope you enjoyed this guided meditation and the affirmation cards and the topic, even though I've repeated it. But it's one of those things that is good to talk about a lot, because it's something in life. There's grief, there's life, death, this, cycle of life. We all experience it. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Tune in next week for a new guided meditation, a new card, hopefully a newer topic. Any questions or comments, let me know. I will try to answer anything I can. Please like and subscribe my channel, and have a good rest of the week. Thank you.